available on our be available on our YouTube channel. And there will not be CCUs for this. So when you get your survey, don't expect to have a CCU certificate with that. And with that, I think we can get started. So Michael, I will hand it off to you.
Well, thank you, Nanor. Appreciate that. And welcome everyone once again to ICF Orange County. And it is my privilege to be able to present or introduce you to our presenter today. Mary Cravets is a client generation expert and an international speaker. She helps entrepreneurs significantly grow their businesses without working nights and weekends. So can we get a woot woot for that, right? Using her methods, the majority of her clients quickly increase their income by 50 to 100%. Clients include former CFO of Microsoft North America, thought leaders in the coaching industry, and rising stars of a variety of other professions. And here's some fun stuff about Mary. She's an avid roller coaster enthusiast. My son was at Magic Mountain yesterday, and a kayaking volunteer for a wildlife protection program in Morro Bay, California. So we would like to, I would love to have you just welcome Mary, and she is gonna just teach us a lot of great stuff today. So Mary, welcome to ICF Orange County virtual meeting.
Thank you so much. And I know if we need a dance break, I'm going to call on Lori Banks to lead that because she is clearly like in the groove with this. All right. So as you've already been told, there is a lot we're going to go over today, and I'm incredibly excited. Messaging is one of my favorite topics because it's all about words, and I'm a complete word nerd because the words you say creates your reality. So I'm going to not waste a single moment and jump right in. So welcome to Magnify Your Messaging, how to explain coaching and attract great clients. So the first thing I want to do is I want to engage you with a question. And that is, have you ever walked into a room, virtual or otherwise, and find yourself in that high pressure situation of having to introduce yourself? And things run through your head like, don't be pushy, don't look desperate. Oh my gosh, did someone say coach? Don't blow it. Don't say too much. Don't leave any details out. Or maybe your brain just freezes up. Does anybody have that experience? One of those experiences? Yeah. So here's what I know. The frustrating thing is that you are an accomplished person, you have your heart in the right place, you're smart. And so what I'm here with today is just structure that will help you better express the value of your gifts and your brilliance so you can be finding more clients, earning more money, and making a bigger impact with less effort. Now, today we're going to focus on messaging and explaining coaching, and it's important to be clear about the purpose behind what we're doing today. We're not doing this just to find pretty words that sound cute or clever, but rather this is a bigger picture. This is a piece of the bigger picture of client generation. This is important, okay? A piece of the bigger picture of client generation. It's an important piece, but I'm also going to equip you with that bigger picture perspective on client generation. So I'm serving you at the highest level and covering all bases. So where I'm going to start is I'm going to zoom way out to what do you actually need when you're looking to grow your business? Well, if you aren't getting all the clients you want, or getting clients is taking up too much of your time, it's generally because there is a problem in just one of three areas. Either number one, you don't have a comprehensive plan. If you are feeling like you're busy instead of productive or spinning your wheels, this is probably where you need to focus. Or maybe it's an implementation problem. Maybe if you're getting distracted by all the cool new things you could be doing and you're not building momentum, it might be an implementation issue. Or number three, you simply need to improve lead generation. Maybe you're doing a little too much marketing and visibility stuff and aren't really digging into what's going to put you in the path of your ideal client. So otherwise, if you aren't doing that, then you're probably dabbling in too many things, and you need to focus on the lead generation that's going to get you the most results. So that's it. Plan, implement, lead generation. Now you're going to get a massive shift in the effectiveness of your lead, of your messaging and the bigger picture looking at the growth of your business and client generation, these three things, like understanding which of these is where you need to focus, it's actually the most important thing I hope you take away today. All right, so how are we going to get from here to there? Here's what we're going to cover today. Number one, when and how to explain coaching. Number two, creating your magnetic 30-second introduction so prospects quickly say, I need you. And also the 6 essential elements of an effective client generation plan that makes it easier to attract clients, grow your income, and make a bigger impact in the world. And because I want to continue to support you beyond just our time here today, because one of my top values is impact, I believe in having fun while we're doing all the work that is to be done in growing a business. I'm actually going to do a drawing at the end. I'm going to keep the prize a secret, but you must be present to win. And regarding questions, I'm going to take a break in about 10, 15 minutes after we get the first set of learning under our belts. And you can ask questions at that point. I'm going to spend about 10, 15 minutes on questions, and then I'm going to keep going with the content. And then what'll happen is at the end, we're going to end right before the top of the hour. I'm going to stay on a little bit longer. So if you have additional questions, I will be available. Whew. Okay, now that we have housekeeping out of the way, I would like you to open up your chat window. Open up your chat window, put your fingers on the keyboard. And I have a question for you. And I want you just to answer with the first thing that comes to mind. Just quick, 10 words or less. You ready? Here it is. Why is this topic important to you? I am sure you have other things you could be doing with your time, but you're here. So why is this important? Let's see. I'm not helping as many people as I'd like. I like you and I want more leads. Oh, thanks, Darcy. I need to grow my business, generate business. Let's see. I work with more clients, need clients. It's what's holding you back. Yeah, the words can make all the difference. I'm drawn to get my message out there and serve. Explaining coaching is hard to me. Rajesh, you're going to be very happy with what you learn here today because it's probably not what you expect. Okay, so I'm seeing impact, service, clarity, wanting to share the gift of coaching, build a brand. Okay, good. Well, this is the thing I do right at the beginning, just to make sure we are all in the right place. So the first thing I always want to look at before I dive deep into the content is just, where does this stuff come from? I want to know that who I'm learning from isn't just regurgitating everything from a book somewhere or learned it theoretically or academically. So a little bit about me. Right now, I am just over 10 years into my training coaching company. We're on track for the 500,000 mark in the next couple of years. And what happened for me is that it didn't always look like that. When I first started this company, I was going in a million different directions. And I was just super excited because I was finally engaging in a way that was bringing all my gifts to the table. I was contributing to the prosperity of others. I was counteracting some of the garbage I see in my industry and doing business right for people. But the problem was I wasn't charging what I was worth. I was working with everyone. I didn't have a clear picture of who my ideal client was. And I was trying everything, saying I'd do anything. And it took me less than 2 years to completely burn out. I was diagnosed with adrenal exhaustion. And after 2 years of running my business, I found I had only 4 hours of energy a week to continue to keep it going. So at that point, I had to decide, do I give it up or do I figure it out? And so in that crisis moment, a question popped into my head. And this is the first thing I'm going to recommend you write down, because this really is the compass point for everything in my company. The question that popped into my head is, what's working? What's working? I did not have time or energy to be chasing down after every target market that sounded good. I did not have time or energy to figure out what are the keywords in Facebook that are going to, fix the algorithm for me this week. I needed to figure out how to clearly exist in the world, clearly define my value, and become that sought after leader. And so what happened for me is as I focused and as I got clearer about who I was in this world and starting to charge what I was worth, my business started to grow, just starting from that one question. And over the years, that one question eventually evolved into this bigger system, this bigger client generation system. And this is what helped me double my business several times over. It's the reason my clients consistently increase their income 50% or more. And this is what I'm going to share with you today. From all of these experiences, the laughs, the cries, the burnout, I've learned three things for sure. Number one, anyone can generate a steady stream of great clients. It's not something you have to be born with. It is a skill set. I did it when I was sick. Anyone can do it. Number two is you've got to customize. There is no cookie cutter formula, no cookie cutter tactic that is going to work for everyone. You've got to customize. And number three, business can be a lot easier when you become intentional about it. And we're going to start with being very intentional about your language. So let's jump into the content. So let's talk about when and how to explain coaching. And I want to start with where you are right now. And I'm going to give you a minute to consider a question. You don't need to put this in the chat, just consider. When do you think you should explain coaching? When is it that you think is the right time to explain coaching? Take a second to think about that. Got your answer? Okay, so I'm going to give you a scenario. I want you to reflect back on the last time you took your car to be serviced. When you went to the garage, was your goal to learn how to become an auto mechanic? Probably not. In fact, if the person fixing your car started to explain what tools and diagnostics and steps they were going to take, I bet your eyes kind of glazed over, didn't they? Yeah. But then you perked up when they said when they'd have it fixed for you, what time you could pick it up, and the fact they have a loaner car for you. You didn't care about the method, you cared about the outcomes and how you would be taken care of, right? And yet so many times I see coaches jumping in and explaining coaching right off the bat. But the fact is, in general, your ideal client does not want your job. So they don't need to know how you do it or what coaching is all about right up front. What they want to know is how you can solve their problem. Got it? So the first answer to this question is hold off on explaining coaching. And let's jump into what to do instead. And that's going to start with a vocabulary exercise. Woohoo! I know you're excited now. Everyone is having a third grade flashbacks right now. Okay, so when and how you describe coaching depends on who you're talking to. So let's run through the different people you talk to. A stranger is someone you know nothing about. Pretty simple. A suspect, this is someone you suspect could use their services, but they don't know it yet. A prospect is someone who is curious or have self-identified as wanting your services. And then lastly, a client is someone who has paid you. So for each of these people, what do you say? Okay, let's take the first two, the stranger and the suspect. When you're dealing with these first two, you will only talk about your business from the perspective of your ideal client. You're not explaining coaching at this point. And you're going to learn how to get this perspective when we get into the message, the second teaching point in just a minute. So for these first two people, the strangers and the suspects, only talk about your business from the prospect of your ideal client, what they want and need. Now I'm skipping to the end to clients. With clients, obviously what you talk about with them is you just pour into them all of your expertise and their relation, just pour all of your goodness, coaching goodness into the relationship. Now that third one, the prospect. When someone identifies as a prospect, when someone says, gosh, you know what, Julie, I've been wanting to explore coaching with you for a while. A light should go on for you, and you need to know that the thing you want to do with them, the right conversation to be getting them into, is a sales call. Maybe you call it a discovery call or a chemistry call. And this conversation, so that's the goal of when someone identifies as a prospect, you want to get them into that nice container of a sales call. And in that conversation, you facilitate discovery of what they need in order to achieve what they want. It's still about them. It's still not explaining coaching. So where does explaining coaching come in? It is after you go through the sales conversation process and you're both clear about what they're looking for and what you provide, that those two things are a match. Then you briefly describe coaching. And let me give you an example. Here's what I think you're going to find really exciting. The coaching process is not about loading you up with tons of advice, but rather it's working with you to dig deep within yourself to discover the answers that are most profoundly true for you. That's how I would explain coaching. That's just my version. It doesn't have to be the answer. But do you see, it's the big picture. It's not talking about the science, the art and the science and the core competencies. Don't go there. Okay, so now why is it so important to know the when and how of it all? Because when you're meeting people, you need to move the conversation forward quickly, but appropriately so you don't feel pushy and awkward. So I'm going to give you 2 examples here, okay? These are so fun. I got to take the share off because you got to see my face and how much I enjoy this. All right. So I'm going to give you 2 scenarios of people doing it wrong, okay? So here's what I want you to do. Step into the shoes of this person. So you are an acquaintance and you do not need my services. I don't know much about you. Let's say we've met at a few ICF meetings. We know what each other's businesses are, but you have expressed 0 interest in my services. You got that? You got the headspace for that? Okay. Now experience what it feels like when I come up to you with the wrong approach. Hi, you know what? I've seen you struggling to get clients and I know I could help. You know, I've been doing this for 9 years. I've helped the former CFO of Microsoft double his business. So I know I could help you with your business. Why don't we set up an appointment to explore how I could help you? Okay, open the chat. In one word, tell me how that feels. I see a lot of gagging going on. Yes, run, pushy, offensive, unnecessary. I would say insulting. Like, I see you struggling. What? I did not say. LinkedIn pitch, I ignore. Perfect. Yes. Okay. And that's because I just treated a suspect, someone I think could use my services, like a prospect. That's why these definitions are important. Okay. Scenario number 2, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to get it wrong again. Now, let's imagine that you are someone who decided you want my services. I want you to imagine you've tried a million things to grow your business. You've met me and you're like, okay, finally someone who's real and gets it. And you trust your gut and you take that leap and you think, I got to get moving. I'm going to invest and work with Mary. Okay. So step into those shoes. You're kind of excited. You're psyched up. And you just have said to me, I think I want to hire you. Okay. And I say, oh, okay, great. Here's my email. Get in touch. Now, how does that feel? You blew me off-putting, empty, don't care. Yeah. Oh, she's busy, not interested, never give the follow-up. Yeah. You just have kind of left people hanging. So having those words to create the conversation and move it forward in a way that has everybody on board, permission, empowerment for everybody, is so, so important. And of course, I know a lot of people are worried about feeling pushy, and that's one of the big challenges. So let me tell you a quick story about this, and then we'll get moving on to building your introduction. Okay, so this is Jeanette, and she didn't want to look pushy, just like every single person I know and work with. And like Jeanette owns Valentino Coaching. Like most coaches, her focus, her love is helping people transform their lives. And the trouble was she didn't have enough clients. So she had like all this desire to help, but not enough people to help. And she tried working on client and getting more clients in kind of a scattered way, always trying something new because it was supposed to be the next big thing. But she resisted. There was a part of her that held back because she thought it required her to be someone she wasn't, to work 24/7 or be pushy or salesy. And so what we did is, starting with the messaging like you're doing today, understanding your ideal client and the definitions you just learned, we built her client generation plan and implemented over 6 months. And within a few months, she experienced her highest income in 7 years. And not only that, there's that confidence of knowing how to express your value, really own your value. So people are attracted to it. All right. It is time to roll up your sleeves and do some work. You're going to create your magnetic 30-second introduction. So prospects quickly say, I need you. So this is the way this works in the overall scheme of things, is that messaging kind of weaves through everything. But the point, the focus where we want to go with this is to create more sales and enrollment conversations. So the goal of the introduction I'm going to teach you today, by the way, other people teach other methods, they have a different goal. My goal is, if your ideal client is standing in front of you, we want to discover immediately if they are your ideal client. Now, notice this doesn't say the goal is to make everyone understand what you do or explain coaching your expertise. And this is important. I really want you to hear this. The goal is not about convincing people or persuading. It's not about this. It's simply to identify if your ideal client is standing in front of you immediately to speed up that sales cycle. So if your ideal client is standing in front of you, your introduction must mirror what your ideal client is thinking and feeling about the problem you can help them solve. So we must start with your ideal client before we move into the formula itself. So 2 pro tips about thinking about your ideal client. An ideal client description never starts with the words, I'd be willing to work with. Yeah, key indicator. That's not an ideal client. And number 2, your ideal client description does not include the certifications you hold, the assessments you use, or the coaching school you attended. Your ideal client is someone who wants your top program, product, or service you offer. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you answer 5 questions, and I want you to do it 2 ways. Number 1 is the way you're going to do it today in the room right now. You're going to do gut feeling, first answer that pops into your mind today. And then secondly, when you go out of here, I want you to dig a little deeper. So let's do this exercise to identify some key things about your ideal client you need to create your introduction. So the first question is, who do you work with? Now, this is a very general description. It might be doctors, business owners, women professionals, very general. Don't do the demographics, none of that. General description. Number 2 is, how are they feeling right now? Something's a little out of whack, probably. People don't usually seek coaching when everything's fantastic. What's going on? How are they feeling about what's going on in their life? Are they upset? Are they anxious? Are they excited? How are they feeling? Number 3 is, what is their main problem? What's going on in their life that they are not happy with and they would pay to solve? What is the main problem? What's keeping them up at night? Number 4 is, what surface solution or outcome do they want? Now, this is something that is very top of mind, general, like you'd say if you were in line at Starbucks next to somebody and be like, oh, I wish I had more time, or I wish my team would stop acting like 5-year-olds. Very off the cuff, surface level solution or outcome. And then the last piece is, when they achieve that thing they think they need, what is the bigger outcome that is now possible that they really, really desire? So it usually sounds something like, gosh, wish my team would stop acting like 5-year-olds so I could actually get a promotion within my lifetime. Okay. Probably not with the sarcasm, unless your ideal clients happen to be sarcastic. But these are the 5 questions to start with before we do the fill in the blank. You want to be 100% clear on this and then move your answers to the fill in the blanks formula. Getting your ideal client right is the only way to really get the introduction nailed down. So here is the fill in the blanks formula. And I'm going to give you some examples because just staring at the blanks can be quite it just doesn't really solidify what this does. So I'm hired by blank, who are blank with blank and who want blank so they can blank. Now the numbers, very clear, I know. The numbers in the right-hand column, those are all referencing the answers that you created to those 5 questions. Now I know this may seem too simple, but this is exactly where I start with all of my clients to speed up their results. So I'm going to go through a few examples. All right. When you introduce yourself as an executive leadership coach, in general, people will kind of glaze over. It's just, it doesn't say anything. It isn't meaningful to them. Here's my version. I'm hired by newly promoted first-time managers who are feeling in over their heads with their new management role and who want to create high-performing teams so they can fast-track their next promotion. If this person is standing in front of you and you say you're an executive leadership coach, they are going to walk away. But if you say this, they are going to say, how do I get me some of that? Okay. This is important, being very, very clear. Okay, let's do another one. Wow. If you'd like to put someone to sleep, tell them you're a bookkeeper. Yeah. My example. I'm hired by businesses that are overwhelmed with having gone through a growth spurt and who want someone to handle the details that are falling through the cracks so they can focus on taking your business to the next level. Now, this is an actual example from one of my clients, and in the 30 days after he started using this introduction, his referrals doubled. All right, last example, and this is the one that is guaranteed to put someone into a coma. I know because I used it for a while. I'm a business coach. How about instead, I'm hired by business owners who are frustrated with client generation and who want to significantly grow their business without working nights and weekends. Yeah, that one's mine. Can you hear that difference? It is all about creating that crystal clear picture of your ideal client from their perspective. All right, so I'm going to open up for a little bit of Q&A, about 10 minutes right now. So if you want to put something in the chat, or if you want to try your new introduction. If you would like to ask a question, you can just unmute yourself and hop on.
Will this be available after this? Because I couldn't write all that down.
Yeah, 2 things. 1, the recording will be available, and 2, there's a handout that has all of this. So Nanor, could you put that in? If you didn't get that before, I'm sorry, I meant to mention that, but it has like the fill in the blank. It's got everything so that you can brainstorm later on it. Okay. Yeah, Milo.
I love the fill in the blank, but I didn't notice it. And I'm going back and forth. Can we get the 5 things? It's who do you work with? How do they feel right now? What is their main concern?
What's their main problem?
Yep. Okay. What surface problem or issue do they want?
Number 4 is what surface solution or outcome do they want?
Outcome. Yep. And what deeper
solution or outcome would be made possible? Or what do they like kind of secretly desire?
So it's the same answers as number 4, but the wording of the question is different.
No, it's not, because it's more like, usually the answer to number 4 is something they think they need. Like, I just need to get control of my calendar.
I may not have worded that clearly. The fill in the blanks are the same. The question.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Thank you. All right. So let's see. Chat. Am I saying your name right?
Hi, Mary. Yes. So it's funny. I had a call this morning with the owner of a bakery. She's owned it for 20 years. Who loves her business, has been very passionate about it, started as a hobby and became a business, and she still loves to bake, loves to make wonderful delicacies, but she is completely burned out at this point in her life with it. And it's funny because her surface solution was that she wants to sell the business and use then the proceeds to basically fund her retirement. Interestingly, as we talk more about her business and the structure of it and the money and the revenues within it and all the financials about it, it turned out it's not the right time for her to sell the business. She needs to improve the financials before she can really sell it and then, make the profit she's looking for from that sale. So her initial perceived outcome of selling the business actually became the final outcome that she would be getting to once she's gone through the steps to improve the quality of her business. Where it becomes a saleable item.
I love it. And this is one of the things I love about frameworks is that you can start to order what you already know along the lines of this format. And it's not about like everybody has to do the same thing, but rather it orders the world in a way that's clearer and expresses your value better. So thank you. That's great. Okay, I saw some things come up in the chat. Let me get over here. Let's see. What if I have different services? I feel I should have 2 of these for two different hats. Okay, and tips for that. Okay, LN, I don't know who LN but if you can come on, that would be great.
Hi, that's me.
Hi. Okay. Yeah, I definitely have an opinion about this. You will make yourself very, very difficult to do business if you have 2. So can you describe to me the 2 you're talking about?
Yeah, so I have my occupational therapy hat that I've had for 19 years and became a professional certified coach 4 years ago. And the business is kind of combining those 2 approaches. But right now, because I've been 19 years in OT, the referrals, the money is coming in through my OT hat. So when I do my website, which I'm trying to revamp and struggling because of these 2 different hats, that's where the revenue is coming. But I want to grow this, but it will always be merged. So I'm
yes.
very, yeah.
Well, okay, and this is a very common thing, is that a business pivots, it shifts, and so messaging from my experience, it needs to be focused on what you want to grow.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know a lot of people have been in your shoes, and what they do is their messaging is, here's what I want to grow. So you talk about that. And if someone goes, oh, but don't you do OT? I've been seeing you do that for a year. So you go, oh, absolutely. That's a part of my practice. Yeah. So put your messaging on the part of your business. I mean, it's really, if you think about it, it's simply focusing your messaging on your ideal client. Right. So you actually have a little bit of a better merge than I had another client, and she's like, well, how do I get my proofreading and editing and educational consulting all under one umbrella? And no, you just can't. You have to message them separately. You have to run them separately. You have to market them separately, or you're going to create brand confusion. For you, I imagine there is an overlap of desired outcomes. And so looking at, think of your ideal client as an umbrella. Okay. I'm going to mix metaphors here. Just don't judge. So it's an umbrella. Okay. So it is a person who has these characteristics, these problems, these desires, these issues. And what you have is a tool belt. Okay. You have a tool belt, and whether you pull out the coaching or the OT is up to you. Again, they don't really care how you fix their problem. Yeah. And I know a lot of people do this, and they do it in a different way, which is I have this assessment and that assessment and this coaching technique and that's your tool belt. That's not your ideal client. That's not your messaging.
That's a really good, I like the metaphor. Yeah.
Great. Umbrellas and tool belts. Yeah. All right. Thanks for asking the question. That was helpful.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see.
Mary, we have Dahlia who has raised her hand as well.
Oh, fabulous. Dahlia, would you like to unmute?
Hi, Mary. Thank you for everything. And hi, everybody. I'm glad to attend this meeting. It's my first time being in the ICF meeting, so I'm so excited. My question is, your introduction was about to know exactly who I would like to work with, which is somebody else call it niching down. So that was my main problem. I'm going back and forth, but mainly I'm focusing on relationship coaching, but it's not couple relationship. It's just family relationship, which is with everybody inside the family. So is that gonna be like a broad niche, or that gonna work? My main target, I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, you're fine.
But my main target is to work with the family on their communication skills.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to break down some definitions a little bit further in a way that I think will be helpful. So ideal client is that description of the desires and problems, the characteristics of your ideal client. Okay, regardless in your case, regardless of like niche or target market. Okay. So what is it that they want to do? What are the characteristics? Okay. And it is not too broad, because then what you will do, now yours is family communication. So that is one of the things they're going to want to work on their communication. There's funky stuff happening in the family. They've been cooped up together for too long, and they suddenly are just at each other's throats when a year ago they loved each other. So that's your ideal client. Okay. When we talk about niches, I don't really work on niches too much unless someone has a very established reputation within an industry, or they just know that's definitely what they want to go after. So instead, what I look at is target markets. And I can give you my own example. So when I started this, I was just like, I don't know, I help people. I went out and I helped people. And then I found out that that is cause for burnout. So then I got together and I was like, okay, actually, I help people with client generation. Who needs help with client generation? Okay, coaches, lawyers, financial people. And these were all my target markets, places to go explore that directed the where to go, where do I go question. Okay. So Dahlia, you might look at, okay, where are the target markets where you might meet these people, and define those out. And what happened for me is I found that I'm almost completely niched down to coaches, consultants, and trainers, because it just, what I do translates so perfectly. So I really love doing, finding a niche naturally through experience and through the earn while you learn method. I found some niches I did not enjoy so much, or some target markets I didn't enjoy so much. And so I hadn't changed all my branding to match, that target market. So explore is what I would say.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. And in order to keep this show on the road, and I will do questions again at the top of the hour, but I'm going to keep going. One thing I did want to offer to you, and this is a combination freebie goodie that I want to give you to continue the conversation. And also this is your drawing entry. So it's a twofer. One of the things about getting your messaging really dialed in is that you will earn more referrals. And referrals is the #1 way that coaches get clients worldwide. By the way, this is true worldwide. But the problem is that most people see it as word of mouth, like this thing that can just happen and you don't really know where it comes from. And it's not systematic. And I am here to tell you there is a way to be very systematic about it, with asking for referrals without feeling awkward, building a list, sending out emails. Like there's this process you can engage in that really connects you and builds relationships. So that's like a whole piece that you absolutely need. I want to make sure to get in your hands, even though it's like kind of tangential to our discussion today. So I have a course, it's 90 minutes. I'm going to give it to you for free. It's called Referral Generation Made Simple. And it has templates. It has how to ask without being awkward. It has, just everything you need to understand how to build this. So if you would like this, here's what you do. Listen, instructions, very simple. You're going to send me an email to mary@simplygetclients.com with the subject line smile. Subject line smile. Do that. Go ahead and do that now. I'm going to give you a second. And I will do a drawing for a copy of a book, a very fun book, at the end of our session today. So I'm going to give you a second to do that. And I'm going to get all set up for the big finale. Okay. So now we're going to dive into the 6 essential elements of an effective client generation plan that makes it easier to attract clients, grow your income, and make a bigger impact in the world. Now we're going to step back because messaging, as I said before, it's a piece of the puzzle. It's an important piece of the puzzle. And when you are out in the world using your messaging correctly, you will attract clients. Now, how do you proactively create those opportunities to put your messaging out there? Because if you want to grow and scale your business, you've got to have a client generation plan in place. And what I see is a lot of people they dabble in a lot of things instead of having an overall plan. So let me check on something real quick. Go ahead and open up your chat again. I've got a yes or no question. Easy one this time. Yes or no? Do you have a written client generation plan? a written client generation plan. Okay, a lot of no's and nopes. Love it. Yes, sort of. Hey, Lisa, gold star, great. Even sort of is better. Well, let me tell you, the reason most people don't have a client generation plan is they've never thought about client generation. They as a system or as a plan. It's marketing plan. And that is usually something kind of I don't know, amorphous and out there and like, oh, this is the overall concept. And it isn't about what do I do? What do I say? Where do I go? So what I'm going to do next is equip you with a bigger picture understanding of client generation so you can be proactively attracting more clients and have more consistency and control over your results. So I'm going to define each of the 6 essential elements, and actually I'm going to simplify this. Let me pull out all those details are more about how I teach through my programs. And I want to focus on the core of this right now. So here's what we're going to do next. You're going to do an assessment. I'm going to define each of these 6 essential elements. I recommend you write them down and then assess how clearly defined that element is in your business on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is low and 10 is high. Don't overthink it. It's a simple assessment to understand where you are right now with your client generation plan, because there are things that you already have established. Maybe you don't even know it, and they're working great in your business. And then there are these things that need to be tuned up to get better results. So you're going to discover which is which right now. Starting over on the left with your values and vision. Now, when you have your values, vision, your why, your goals, when you have those clear, what you create, in addition to just feeling very authentic in your business, you create courage and conviction. It gives you, having all these defined gives you the courage to ask to be paid what you're worth, the willingness to put yourself out there, even if you risk rejection, because your vision is more important than that rejection. So on a scale of 1 to 10, are you clear? How clear are you about your values, vision, and goals? And you don't have to put this in the web, in the chat, by the way. This is for you. Number 2 is pricing and packaging. This one's pretty, that's okay, Nanor. She went and started putting stuff in the chat. All right, number 2 is pricing and packaging. Now this one's pretty obvious, but it's also important. So is your pricing structured so that it is honoring your expertise and you're owning your value? Is it structured so you're paying yourself decently and not just rolling everything back into the business? The bottom line is, are you clear and confident that your pricing is where it needs to be for you to reach your financial goals? Scale of 1 to 10. Number 3, and we touched on this a little bit today, ideal client. So as I said before, you never start your ideal client description with the words, I'd be willing to work with. I want you to pinky swear you'll never do that. Get clear about who is ideal, who can you serve at the highest level, who will pay you at the highest level. And then commit to that. Don't settle. On a scale of 1 to 10, how clear are you about your ideal client, who they are, what they're thinking, and where you can find them? Number 4 is messaging. We worked a bit on this. This takes what you know about your ideal client and translates it into words everywhere words show up in your business, website, social media. It's your talk titles, your 30-second introduction, obviously. The key to making your messaging magnetic, as I said before, is communicating the value of what you do quickly, so people hire you faster. When someone asks you, what do you do? Are you able to communicate your value quickly? Do they say, I need that? Now, I know you're going to give yourself a little bit higher of a score than you might have at the beginning of our time together. All right. Number 5. Now, guess what? This is where people jump to: lead generation. Lead generation. And they confuse it with marketing. Marketing is kind of visibility. It's social media. It's putting yourself out there, hoping that someone will fall onto your content. Lead generation is putting yourself in the path of your ideal clients. So to assess what you have right now, think about, do you have a specific set of actions that work to bring in leads every month on a consistent basis? And if you're not clear, think about that idea of, are your activities putting you in the path of your ideal client. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you about your ability to bring in new leads consistently? And the last piece is sales and enrollment. Can you confidently convert a prospect into a paying client? Well, and this means having a sales process, enrollment conversation process in place that removes the guesswork of how do I say this? How do I get them to see the value? How do I explain, but not over-explain what I do so that they want to work with me? Rate your ability to close the sale once someone says they are interested. Now, what do you do with this? Well, I'm going to wrap it all up and put a big bow on it, but on an ongoing basis, do this assessment anytime something changes in your business, anytime you feel like you're wanting to go into reinvention mode, anytime you're feeling unclear. What this will do for you is if you have low numbers, that's telling you where you need to pay attention. The high numbers are telling you where you should not mess with success. I did this evaluation on March 12th in my own business, March 12th, 2020, because I really thought I was going to have to reinvent for the pandemic. Truth was, I needed to tune up 2 areas. Can you imagine? I wanted to throw out everything I'd done, all the work that would have been lost. Instead, I just tuned up a couple of areas. So this is an assessment that I not only recommend, but I use in my own business consistently. All right, so how are we going to put a bow on the whole thing? Remember this slide from the beginning, way back when our relationship was just starting? Yes, this is where we bring it all together. So reflect on everything you've heard today and decide, what is it that you need? Do you need an overall client generation plan? Frankly, it's what most people need because they've never thought of it before. And this is where we start with most of our clients. Or are you spending a lot of time chasing after bright, shiny objects and just need to focus on a plan you already have in place? Or do you need to work on tightening up a lead generation strategy? When you decide what you need and move forward very intentionally, amazing things happen, even if you have big goals, or you might have big goals, or you might be just at the end of your rope. And that was a story for Georgia. I love her story because we've all had those days where we're just ready to give it up, just completely give it up. And Georgia was there. She's a brilliant coach from Australia. She was very skeptical that simplifying was actually going to work because she tried for years all of these systems and online funnels and all of these things, and nothing worked. She hated being online anyway. And she just hated all of the options she was seeing out there. And since she had invested over and over, she was very reluctant and skeptical because she was never able to attract the clients she wanted. But she was willing to let it be easier. And so over 6 months in my accelerator program, she learned to work in a simpler way, a more authentic way. We just focused on creating her plan, refining implementation, supercharging lead generation, which she focused on speaking, which is one of my favorite things to teach. And here's what she did. She filled up her speaker calendars. She got dozens of leads from her speaking and was able to enroll clients. And now she's working on scaling strategies because their calendar has filled up. But it all starts with the essentials, your messaging, the what to do, where to go, and what to say. All right, now, I know right now you're like, wow, I'm super excited for Georgia, but what about you? What is it that you need to do to create lasting impact? So the first thing I'm going to invite you to do is to identify one bite-sized action. Take a minute, look over your notes. What is one bite-sized action you can take, something that maybe you discovered today? Something you can take action on that will move the needle. All right, now bite size is great, but I am betting you wrote down more than one thing, didn't you? Yeah, I see you. Yeah, that makes sense to me because I'm the person who does that. I get it. You want more. So this brings us to our second step, where we get the creative centers of your mind on board. We've been doing a lot of left brain logical go, go, go stuff, But you've got two halves of your brain. I want to get the creative centers on board. So do this now. Put down your pen, take your hands off the keyboard, close your eyes for a second, and take a deep breath. Imagine having a steady stream of great clients coming in. These are clients who happily pay you what you're worth. You're making a difference. You're known for your expertise and your brilliance. And to attract those clients, you have a plan. And it's not just any plan, it's a plan that makes you smile because it's full of things that you love to do. A simple checklist you can go through so that you can always feel authentic and never pushy. You know exactly what to do, where to go, and what to say to take prospects from that first meeting to enrolling as a client. And you do this with confidence and with consistency and with ease. Take another deep breath. Open your eyes. Is that a vision you can get behind? Yeah, I hope so. So now I hope you're feeling inspired, you're feeling equipped. And you're like, yep, I see what I need to do. Got to work on my messaging, got to systematize a bit. And the question now is, how do you keep this level of focus and inspiration week after week so you really start seeing results? And this is where the third point comes in. I recommend you identify something really important when thinking about what you want and need in your business. Who do you have in your corner who has accomplished what you want to accomplish and is available to help you when you need it most? Because some of you have the support you need, but for those of you who don't, I invite you to consider working with me. Now, this isn't for everyone, but if you're looking to grow your business without working nights and weekends, maybe it's time to figure out how to do that exactly. So what I'm offering today is a complimentary breakthrough call to explore the possibilities for working together further. It's a great option for you if you've been feeling a little stuck, like you're spinning your wheels and you're not sure why, or if you've been looking for some kind of support but just can't quite picture what that would look like. Now, these are complimentary calls. I'm happy to do them, but they're really intended for people who are just tired of feeling like your hard work isn't paying off at the level you want. And you're at that point where you're really serious about doing what it takes to change. You're decisive and you're willing to invest in yourself. So if that sounds like you, then on this call, here's what you can expect. I'm going to walk you through a process to identify your biggest opportunities for growth. And then we'll decide together how to work together further to help you maximize those opportunities. Now, I take this time with you personally because working together, it is an investment. And I want us both be 100% confident that I am the right fit for you. To get on my calendar, it's very simple. I just put the link on the screen and in the chat. It's breakthroughcall.biz, breakthroughcall.biz. It's a calendar. Pick a time, answer a couple questions, and you're done. Now, in case you're thinking, okay, I'll get around to that later. I know how busy your schedule is, so I'm going to give you an incentive. So all this clarity and good intention does not get lost in the shuffle. Actually, two incentives. So the first thing is a digital copy. You'll get a digital copy of my complete ebook, A Strategy and Encouragement for the Impact-Driven Entrepreneur. And this is the perfect read for those days when you find yourself seriously contemplating becoming a Starbucks barista. We all have those days. Plus, you're also going to get access to my Launch Your Six-Figure Speaking Strategy course. And it gives you strategy, templates, checklists, everything to show you how I get booked for speaking gigs and earn 6 figures plus from this one client generation strategy. Okay, if you have any questions or the schedule fills up, let me know. But now it is time to do the drawing. Woohoo! And the prize is that book I just described, an actual paper copy I'm going to put into the mail for one lucky winner. And if you haven't already sent me an email to mary@simplygetclients.com with the subject line SMILE, now is your last chance. The seconds are ticking away. And by the way, everyone is a winner. You will get the referral generation made simple. You'll also all get the first chapter of my book as my gift to you. All right, So here is my super high-tech way that I am drawing the winner. Ready? Here's my inbox. And the winner is Nanor. Nanor, please send me your mailing address. Send me an additional email with your mailing address.
I would like to offer it to one of our other participants. So try again, please.
Okay, I will do that. All right. Ira Eichenfield, please send me your mailing address and make sure to send a thank you note to Nanor. Okay.
Congratulations, Ira.
I'm going to give you a quote that is transformational to me, and then I'm going to hand it back. This is a single quote. If you ever wonder what kind of impact you can make in the world, let me show you a quote, a one sentence that literally made me leave a business that was killing my soul, had me start this, and have, led to transformations for me, my clients, for a decade. So if you ever question the impact you have, remember this: one sentence changed things for good. So here's the quote I leave you with. A major source of unhappiness in the world is people settling for what is passable instead of reaching for what is possible. My hope today is that I've not only maybe stretched your idea of what is possible, but even more importantly, equipped you with tools to go after those possibilities and make them your reality a little bit sooner. Thank you for letting me serve you today.
Oh, Mary, thank you so much. One of the things we do is we'll often talk about gems, to share some gems with the presenters. So here's what I'd like you to do. If you have a gem you'd like to share, just put it in the chat so that Mary can just sort of capture and get some feedback. So whatever gem, whatever significant thing that you heard today from Mary, just share it with her right now, or just even a simple thank you. Let me just share a few things. Mary, my gem is this. Very early in the call, everything was so excellent, but very early in the call, you made the comment. You said you looked at your own business when you were, burning out, and you looked at first at what's working. And so often we don't think anything's working when when it's not all tied together. And it was just an encouragement to me. So thank you so much, because there are things working for each and every one of us on this call today. So thank you for sharing that from your experience, as well as sharing all the other incredible things that you shared with us. A couple of things. I just want to encourage everyone, please visit icforangecounty.org. There's an events calendar. We are we benefit from having great speakers like Mary join us and want to be a part of our programs. And so we have some programs coming up in June. On June 17th, it's a program called Discover Your Potential to Change with Linda Denton. Then the next one on June 22nd is Enlightened Leadership for Today's World with Michelle Fetters. And then the month ends on June 24th. It's a Thursday evening with Wine, Cheese, and Chat. And it's like a community meeting where we can come together, just have conversations. There'll be a few topics that'll kind of be put out there, and we just have a conversation. It's a great way to build community. So I would love to invite you to all of those. Of course, July is Technology and Coaching Month, so that lineup is fantastic. And once again, Mary, thank you so much for sharing your experience and expertise with us. It's a gift. And remember to grab a hold of Mary's email and get in touch with her. And we would like to thank you all for being here with us, and enjoy the rest of your week. Make it fantastic.
Yes, and I am willing to stay on if there are additional questions. I've got about 15 minutes I can stay if anyone else's schedule allows.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Michael, I